even though the back was all pretty straightforward, the front has proven to be a bit trickier. I had the original plan of just hiding it in behind the front guard there, but lucky I dudded up this little bit of wood, and I pulled the steering off and the suspension out just so I can see the travel of that front wheel, and it's just, there's probably 1 mil of clearance in there on full lock, and even though 1 mil is technically clearance, I think under heavy braking, while on full lock and topping the suspension out at the same time, it would flex and hit. So this sensible thing to do would be to put a normal size wheel on the front, but I don't want a normal size front wheel, so I'm gonna have to rethink this. Right, I've got a plan. So we're going to use the back corner of this wheel arch and the other side as well. I've got to make a real tight mount because there's still not a lot of clearance, but I can make a mount tight enough around this that it's going to clear. I've got a bit of square gate post under the workbench there that I reckon I'll make it work. That's 65 mil outside diameter. It's 2.5 mil thick, and this is 55 mil. So it actually works out to be about 2.5 mil clearance each side. So it's pretty tight. But all we're going to do is put a round peg in a square hole, bolt the square hole onto the car, up in the air we shall go. Let's make a mount. Righto, so I've been ripping into this wheel arch for a while now, and before I tidy it all back up and put it together, I'll put you guys in there so you can have a look at what's going on. So I've unfortunately had to cut a hole just through that tin work into the engine bay there, and this bit in the corner, it wasn't flat. Well, it's not flat, there's a step in it, and this little panel came out with two little sort of tabs, so that'd be cut off, grind it all back. I've drilled those 3 holes. No, there's 4, but that big one was there, so there's 3 smaller ones. They go right through, and then the mount, so the mount just sits. It's going to bolt up in like that. The 3 bolts through it. The jack will get pressed up in there. A little extension sort of clips on the back there, so just a bit more support. It actually was a bit of a pain because right up in there there's a little brace as well that supports ECU, so that had to be trimmed away. About done. And while I thought I'd polish those brakes, I'm probably getting a little bit excited, so I'm halfway through polishing all the suspension. So that should look a little bit better. So we'll clean everything up now. I'll spray a little bit of this black around that I've done all the underbody in. Back to it. Mount's finished. Air Jacks should just go through the mount. Doesn't quite fit because it's hitting on the bolt heads. So I've got to taper the bolt heads down to get that through. Then where it bolts up in the car, where those 3 holes are, it's not flat. So I'm making up some little spaces behind there to make the back surface flat. But then the chassis is so long and that hole's so deep, they're not all perfectly straight. So it's very tricky to get them all in and through and then nuts on the back. So I don't just want to make the holes bigger, I want everything really tight. So tonight, what should be an easy job of pushing that through and then putting that on the car with the nuts on the back and then pushing it up in there. It's just been a bit of a battle wrestling with it all. So space is going to be perfect. Try and get them all through those holes. Then up, see if it clears up in there. It's probably going to hit up the top a bit more, so it's all got to come out again and then cut a bit more out of it. Should be an easy job, and it's taken me forever.